This week on the show, we have Jodie Sweetin, who rose to fame from the popular 90s TV show, Full House. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for watching. This show is all about giving you insights and showcasing brands that help you to live your best life and give you confidence. As always, I want to kickstart your morning with some motivational advice to help you to feel inspired and energized to start your day. Today, I want to talk about the importance of understanding that changing your life boils down to one thing: making the decision to do so. The reality is, decisions are crucial in every stage of our lives because they dictate how the trajectory of our lives unfold. Each decision unlocks different possibilities, whether it be an outcome that makes us grow or an outcome that holds us back. The fastest way to change any area of your life is simply deciding to do so. As easy as it sounds, the hard part is committing to that decision. But once you do, this is when lasting change happens and we reap the rewards of new opportunities and experiences that align with being the best version of ourselves. With the start of 2025, make your mission today to start deciding on things you would like to improve in your life. Want to travel more? Decide so. Want to get more fit or want more enjoyment in life? Decide so. Remember, when you truly make a decision, you cut off all other possibilities of anything other than your desired goal. As the saying goes, you're always one decision away from a totally different life. Stay tuned. Coming up after the break. And in 2015, Netflix brought back Fuller House. Was it nostalgic being back on set? What was that like for you coming back as an adult?
It was such an incredible experience. And I always say, it was like going back into your childhood home that you hadn't seen in years, and that maybe like there were a few different things about, but it still felt so much the same. I mean, we were shooting on the same stage that we were on when we shot Full House. So the dressing rooms were all the same, and it just felt like getting to go back and do what you love with people that you love, and like re-experience some of the most fun, wonderful, hilarious times of your life at your work. And and get to do it all over again as an adult. And this time know that like even when the show ends, that it's sad and painful, but that the fear of losing all of those people isn't there like it was when I was a kid. I didn't know if I would stay connected with all of these people the rest of my life. So coming back to Fuller, it was like, oh yeah, we're just getting to do this all over again.
Wardrobe provided by Le Chateau. Next up on the show, we have American actress Jodie Sweetin, who rose to fame from the popular 90s TV show Full House. Jodie, thank you so much for being on the show today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been an interesting 24 hours here in LA, so I'm like just sort of slept myself together, but yeah, it's I'm doing all right.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Thank you so much for joining us, and I really do hope that everything gets better in LA, so we're praying for that.
Thank you. Yeah, we are very lucky that we were not in any of the areas affected, but there was one kind of close last night, so I had the bags ready just in case, but yeah, it's been better now.
I'm glad to hear that. But Jodie, you started acting at such a young age. How do you think that shaped you into the actress you are today, being a child actress?
I think one thing that it definitely gave me was a work ethic that has really carried me through in a lot of ways. Learning to show up even maybe when you don't feel like it all the time, or you really learn to to show up and do what you love. And I also think I've enjoyed what I've done my entire life. I love acting, I love performing, I love entertaining in whatever way possible, and so getting to do that continuously throughout my life has really been a gift. Not everybody has such an amazing experience too, and I am really fortunate that I absolutely was in the place that I was supposed to be. I loved growing up in this business.
I love that. And speaking of growing in this business, you started on Full House, the popular 90s TV show that most of us grew up on. So how was that experience for you? Tell us about it.
It was, it's funny because people are like, oh, what was it like growing up on TV? And I'm like, I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know, it
Yeah.
was just sort of normal for me. It was what I did. But it required a lot of focus. It required a lot of energy and passion for performing and loving what you do, and also being able to juggle a lot of different things, school and work and all of this kind of stuff at a young age. But yeah, growing up on the show, I was so fortunate. I was surrounded by really wonderful adults in the cast, in the crew, and kids that I grew up with who were we're all like family still. So it was a really wonderful way to grow up, because it was so everyone just really cared about us as young people on set, and that isn't always the case.
Yeah.
So I mean, there were struggles. It was hard. Kids are weird and jealous, and there's all kinds of sort of weird social dynamics that go on. But I think that stuff happens anyway. It doesn't matter whatever it is that you do. In 6th grade, they're coming for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Kids will be kids, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And in 2015, Netflix brought back Fuller House. Was it nostalgic being back on set? What was that like for you coming back as an adult?
It was such an incredible experience. And I always say, it was like going back into your childhood home that you hadn't seen in years, and that maybe there were a few different things about, but it still felt so much the same. I mean, we were shooting on the same stage that we were on when we shot Full House. So the dressing rooms were all the same, and it just felt like getting to go back and do what you love with people that you love, and re-experience some of the most fun, wonderful, hilarious times of your life at your work. And and get to do it all over again as an adult. And this time know that even when the show ends, that it's sad and painful, but that the fear of losing all of those people isn't there like it was when I was a kid. I didn't know if I would stay connected with all of these people the rest of my life. So coming back to Fuller, it was oh yeah, we're just getting to do this all over again.
I love that. I love that you're still connected to everyone. And since then, you've been on various TV shows, as well as a lot of movies on the Hallmark Channel. Some of my favorite Christmas movies you're in.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love you in them. So what have been your favorite roles and why?
Oh gosh, one of my favorite roles that I get to do on Hallmark right now is I actually have a mystery series.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where I play Jane Da Silva, who is sort of an unwitting, detective that takes over for her family and stuff. But I love Jane, and I love doing those mystery shows because it's a little bit different. It's not quite the rom-com meet cute, what's going to happen. And I get to sing in them, which is really fun. And the fashion is incredible for Jane. She has a really great sense of style. But I like playing Jane. She is a sort of take charge, independent, fierce, willing to put herself out there kind of woman. And she's a really fun character to play, and I really have enjoyed that. And it's getting to do something a little bit different with the mystery series.
Very nice. I actually watched an episode yesterday, but for our viewers that aren't familiar with it, tell us about Jane Mysteries.
Well, we have 4 of them out now. The last 3 came out on Hallmark Plus, but they're starting to air on the regular Hallmark Channel. I believe one of them came out this past Saturday on Hallmark. She was a cabaret singer who went to Europe after losing her mom at a young age. Because apparently I guess I'll never play a character whose mom is still around. But yeah, she goes to Europe, becomes a singer, and then gets called back after her uncle suddenly passes and leaves her this agency where he is helping people who have either, it's either a cold case, or maybe they weren't believed by the police, or there was a false confession or something like that Jane gets to go in and sort of fight for justice and make sure that, that it's the right thing ends in the story.
Yeah, I love it. I love the series, by the way. And
Thank you.
what I love about you is that you're using your platform to inspire, to be an advocate. I know that you're an advocate for the LGBT community as well as for sobriety. So tell us about those causes and why it's important for you.
One thing that I have found, as scary as it is, it's that when we share, not only the best, glossiest parts of our lives, on Instagram that are perfectly edited, but when we share the pieces of ourselves that are more human and fragile and vulnerable, and sharing those stories, like, it really connects us to people, and it reminds other people that you're not by yourself in this, because I think so many times addiction and relationships and just life in general can feel really like you're going through it all alone. And so, I had this really great fortune of being someone who so many people grew up with and have this sort of natural connection to. And in sharing my story, I think a lot of people, really resonated with a lot of people, and just being honest, about who I am. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not a person who likes to, put on a show about who I really am. I like to be 100% myself in every situation. And, that took a while to get to. It took a lot of work and a lot of sobriety and a lot of therapy and, all that stuff. But yeah, it's always been important to me to use my platform and to speak up in ways and for people who might get overlooked or maybe just need, just someone else to continue sharing and fighting for what they need.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I love that. And also, you also are an advocate for mental health and ending the stigma, which I think is so important, especially, in January. A lot of people feel it after the new year. Sorry, after Christmas and the holidays, they really feel it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How do you think we can end the stigma? What's something that we can do to kind of prioritize our mental health? What do you think?
Well, I think, again, one of the most important things that we can do is just share things openly and honestly. Yeah. And, the fear of judgment is what keeps most people from getting the mental health care that they need, whether it's in regards to addiction or abuse or, any of those things, or organic mental illness. I think people are afraid that others are going to judge them. And I think that the more we talk about it, the more we understand that this affects everyone in the world, whether it's you directly, it's probably someone you love, someone in your family, someone you work with, and being able, I think, to have a more empathetic understanding of what mental illness looks like, and that it can be incredibly debilitating, even if your body looks like it's functioning well. The sort of main operating system isn't. And I think talking about that and reminding people that, it's just as painful and awful and hard to deal with as any other kind of illness or disease. And I just think, we sharing our stories and being more open, and particularly connecting online has been really helpful for a lot of people, but also I think knowing when to disconnect from being online is also something that's really important for your mental health. And let's just be real about who we are and where we are in our lives. I think that's the ultimate thing that connects us together.
Mm-hmm. I think that's absolutely true. I think it's just to have an open dialogue and be honest, because to be honest, mental health affects every single person on this earth, right? In different ways at different times. So
every single person, and we all love someone who struggled. So
yeah, absolutely. And Jodie, you have a podcast where you talk about various issues with one of your fellow castmates from Full House. Tell us about your podcast.
Yes, so Andrea Barber, who played Kimmy Gibbler, and I, we have a podcast called How Rude Tanneritos, which is sort of an amalgamation of both of our catchphrases. And we have gone back and started watching the original Full House.
Oh, nice.
From the pilot episode, because we never watched it.
Yeah.
I never watched it growing up. I haven't seen most of the episodes. Neither has Andrea. It was like that thing that you did it and you were like, okay, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I've seen the pilot and maybe a few things here and there, but not the entire episode or the entire series all the way through. So we started at the beginning and we're now getting into season 4, I believe.
Wow.
3, 4, something like that. And it has been so much fun. I mean, we have a ridiculous time, not only just reliving some of the memories and talking about things that we remember as kids and behind the scenes stuff, but also, kind of making fun of the ridiculousness of late 80s, early 90s sitcom life, and the things, the hair and fashion alone is a lot. Just a lot of hairspray, a lot of neon, a lot of bike shorts. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun times.
Oh, yes. It's all making a comeback now, too. Like, I go to Urban Outfitters, and I'm like, oh, I wore that in 1994.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all coming back. And Jodie, I created my platform to inspire, to uplift, and really to be a beacon of light for anyone watching, to get inspired. So for anyone that's going through a hard time, maybe they're feeling low, unmotivated, what would you say to inspire and uplift them?
That you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not a horrible person. You're not, allow yourself the ability to ride life's up and downs, and know that it's always around the next corner. One of the things that I have asked myself very often is, why have I been strong enough to keep going through some really painful situations when there have been friends of mine who didn't make it? Mm-hmm. And I think that the ability to just know that it will get different. Yeah. It'll get better, it'll get worse, but it will get different. I promise you that things will change. Nothing stays the same forever. So yeah, you're not alone in it.
I think that's great advice. And Jodie, what else are you currently working on? What are your current projects?
Oh gosh, well, I'm working on writing some stuff. I've been working on the podcast. I've been working on some Hallmark movies. So just keeping busy. And I will say around this time of year is a little bit quiet. Kind of the holidays, early January. My birthday's coming up in a couple weeks. So I kind of take this time of year to do a little bit of a reset and quiet myself for a little while, and then figure out what the next year looks like.
Amazing. Well, Jodie, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's really an honor. I grew up with Full House, so it's nostalgic just speaking with you. And
thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
And honestly, I hope everything gets better in LA. Thank you for, taking the time today, even though there's so much devastation going on there, for taking the time. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm going to go out there and figure out ways that I can go be of service and go help. So
amazing. Well, thank you so much and have an amazing
day. Thank you.
The Darriel Roy Show is available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts.